We'll start things off with Decision 2024, and one of the biggest contests to watch this year is the governor's race in Indiana. Democrats see it as a chance to turn a red state blue, and it's pitting a sitting U.S. senator against a former school superintendent who has switched parties. NBC5's political reporter Marianne Ahern spoke to both candidates about this big race. Marianne?
Stephen, the Republican candidate for governor, Mike Braun, is favored, but his lead has shrunk. And nationally, Democrats do see this as a race as a chance for Democrat Jennifer McCormick to score an upset.
One particular policy now voters can.
If abortion is a major issue for voters, the Indiana governor's race will be one to watch. Jennifer McCormick was a Republican, now a Democrat, looks to undo the restrictions Indiana put in place post Roe v. Wade.
It's huge. It's huge. So our poll shows us that, but also the conversations we're having bipartisan with our boots on the ground. And it is just, people are afraid, they're worried, they're scared, they're angry about it. It's, you know, my opponent's wanting to take it even further, and they're looking at birth control and IVF, and they're calling, you know, vaccines are similar to rape.
U.S. Senator Mike Braun, the Republican candidate, disagrees that reproductive rights will be a decisive factor in his contest.
In this case, the legislature would have to be convinced that something needs to be changed. And I think that's disingenuous on my opponent's part to think that that would be realistic. So
you would not direct any changes?
No, because I'm not hearing from the folks that are supporting me that it needs to be done.
Indiana is surrounded by states that have legalized cannabis. Indiana does not. Not even medical marijuana.
I've said all along, I'm going to take a cue from law enforcement. They'll be at the brunt of whatever occurs positively or negatively from it. But I do believe medical marijuana, there's a case to be made for it.
Starting with a commission that would move into the space of medical marijuana, making sure we're using it for medical purposes, getting well-regulated industry, and then moving into adult usage. We're looking at around $170 million right off the bat.
Both have proposals, albeit different, on property tax breaks. They also disagree on school choice. We asked them both if democracy was on this year's ballot.
It is on the ballot. It's on the ballot at every level. And when people say, why Indiana? Why are we worried about if it's a deep red state? Well, when you allow that to happen, that's where that extremism becomes even more extreme.
I would hope that everyone agrees that a legal ballot should be cast and a legal ballot should be counted. And I think we're going to find that across the board because everybody's watching it.
And did Donald Trump win in 2020?
No, he did not in 2020.
There is a libertarian, Donald Rainwater. He is also on the Indiana ballot. And coming up at 6 o'clock, how artificial intelligence is playing a role in the ads in this contest. For more of what they had to say, look for our political YouTube show, The Brief, later this week. Allison?
Thanks so much, Marianne.